Ghanaians today await the results of the December 7 presidential and parliamentary elections. Voting ended at 38,622 polling stations within the 16 regions across Ghana. The voting process was generally peaceful, except for 2 people who sustained gunshot wounds after a shooting incident at a polling station in Keswa, west of Accra. There was also a report of presidential ballot papers being tampered with in some polling stations in 2 constituencies. This was reportedly swiftly dealt with by the Electoral Commission. The Commission is expected to record a voter turnout higher than the 69.25% turnout recorded in the 2016 general election. More than 17 million Ghanaians cast their ballots in the general election to elect a president and 275 members of parliament. The Electoral Commission also assured the public it will declare the results within 24 hours after the end of voting. Joining me to discuss this is Ameyaw Debrah, a journalist from Ghana. Ameyaw, good to have you join me again today on the news. Tell us how is it at the moment? We understand 2 people sustained gunshot injury in an election that has been greatly termed as peaceful and fair.
Yes, that is accurate. During the election yesterday, the voting process, these incidents did occur. And like you said, the exercise in itself was largely very peaceful. This morning, a few more reports have come in of some violence during the counting and coalition processes. One of the EC's offices in one of the regions was burnt down as well. And in some part of Tema, one of the Electoral Commission staff was almost beaten as well because he had taken some pink sheets with him to his house and was returning to the coalition center with it, and that didn't sit well with some of the polling station agents and party agents that were there. So largely very peaceful, but we are recording a few more incidents as we lead towards the, hopefully, the announcement of the results today by the EC.
Well, that's the big news. Everyone, Ghanaians and other Africans, are expecting that particular result. Tell us how it's panning out now the collation is on already.
So it's trickling in, and the media, various media platforms are doing their own collations as per the results they are getting in. And the political parties themselves are also putting out the result that they are getting from their agents around the country. The ruling party has projected that they've done over 90% of the results, and that puts them around 50.3% in the lead. The opposition party also is coming out with figures that they say puts them ahead. The truth is, most of them tend to bring out the results in the constituencies where they have strong holds on earlier and create all of that. But in terms of the official ones, we are still waiting to see who tops everything. But in the parliamentary results too, there have been some shocks. Some sitting MPs are losing their seats, and some party people who went independent are grabbing the seats from the parties that traditionally sort of have those seats. So it's interesting. And a lot of the violence is coming out from the parliamentary elections because, of course, the parliaments are more on the ground with the people in the community, and so they fight for them, and easily that's where the chaos keeps coming out from, and not so much from the presidential race.
Let me quickly bring in Antony Goldman here. Antony, it's good to know you've been keeping watch on this election, even though you've just only recently visited Ghana. You're in the UK following, the developments in this particular election. We've had Debrah, 2 people were shot in an election that has been, termed largely peaceful. Did you envisage, that minimal amount of skirmish or incident in that election?
I think Ghana has a fairly long-established tradition of managing elections in a way that even where competition is fairly robust and lively, takes place within an agreed framework where tension is relatively modest, even sometimes when the results are very close indeed. I don't know if this election is going to be quite as tight as they've had in the past in Ghana, but I think although all loss of life is a tragedy, I think the picture so far appears to suggest that even though this is the first election that this particular commission has run, the first election that this chairwoman has run, that the logistics have been fairly smooth, that the process has worked out fairly well, and that in most parts of the country, people have exercised their responsibilities in a manner that is in keeping with the rules of law. And it's only in 1 or 2 places that I think stand out as having broken that. And I think that's probably quite a good thing, for democracy, for Ghana, for the region. And I think that probably is the process, if you like, in a sense, matters almost as much as the outcome.
So Antony, I'll stay with you. Let's talk more on Ghana and its democracy and the kind of example it's been able to show on the continent, especially when an incumbent, lost an election. That happened in Ghana before Nigeria came with its own experience. Debrah has just told us that some parliamentarians are losing their seats, which means that there might be some other major upsets coming.
Yes, I think that there's no doubt that this has been a difficult 4 years for the NPP. I think that the conventional wisdom that it was easier to win an election from power, from being in government, I think has been challenged over the last 3 or 4 years. Changes in technology, social media, and all of that kind of thing means that I think it is easier to campaign, from the outside. And I think that the responsibilities of government have been difficult for the NPP sometimes. And I think particularly for some of the MPs at the sharp end of hostility in particular constituencies where maybe people feel that they have been let down, I think the process has allowed people to express that frustration. And I think that, yes, 1 or 2 fairly big names have had to pay the price for maybe that feeling that the government could have done better on governance and could have perhaps been a little bit closer to the anxieties or concerns of ordinary people on the ground when they were looking at, some of the things that were happening on big contracts and that kind of thing. So, in a sense, I think although the focus all along in the kind of system they have in Ghana is on the presidential outcome, actually, you're right. The parliament is also very important, at least if you like, as a indication of the safety valve, if you like, the kind of thing that democracy is meant to do in terms of allowing people to express their feelings on particular issues.
Let me bring in Debrah here before we wrap this for now. Debrah, listening to Antony, some of the key issues leading up to this election is the fight against corruption and some allegations. For those that have already emerged, winners, especially the parliamentarians, tell us what you know about their manifestos. Are they on the side of those who are saying we must be able to fix this mess in Ghana?
Well, yes, corruption was a big deal, especially in the days leading to the election. And you realize that a few days, lots of them came in from all directions. But I think even with the areas, the interesting thing is the parliamentary elections are quite unique in the sense that although they tag into the president and all of that, the people have a different sort of affinity and liking for the individual MPs as well. So for the MPs, it was more how the people in the community felt they had access to him and how he was taking their issues seriously. And so in most of the places, you realize that the MP may have lost, but the president still had won the popular vote. So it's quite interesting when you look at the dynamics in terms of the presidential and the parliamentary elections, the various constituencies. But like you said, yes, corruption was a big deal. But also for a lot of people, they don't even look at those issues. They just basically vote based on how they feel the people in charge of their communities are there to help them. Yes.
Let me close with Antony. Antony, looking at the statistics here from this election, well, the voter turnout is higher than the 69.25% turnout recorded in 2016 election. Isn't it amazing that this is even happening in the year where the world is battling a pandemic?
It is pretty impressive, and I think particularly when you have two candidates who are as familiar as these two are. They contested the elections in 2016 and in 2012, and indeed in 2008. So there was no kind of surprise factor. There was no kind of novelty, if you like. So I think it is, given the challenges that there were in terms of going out to campaign, it's a testament to the party machinery on both sides, I guess, more particularly for whoever emerges as the winner, for having been able to get their people out in difficult circumstances because of the health situation, but also I think because things are not great in Ghana in terms of the economy, and I think the challenge of persuading people to engage must have been very great indeed. But I think given what you've seen in terms of turnout in other countries in the region, it illustrates or perhaps indicates that in Ghana, at least, the two-party system that they have, the kind of traditions that they have are still robust, and I think still fairly represent and bring confidence to ordinary people. And I think that that's a responsibility as much for the people who will inherit governments and institutions now as it does for the people who put them there.